Okay, we'll get started. Thank you for coming to our Chino Valley Leaders webinar on the coronavirus. I tried to get this up on Facebook Live this morning, but it did not work, so we're not doing it, but I will share the video later. I want to thank you guys for coming to attend the event today. We are going to be interviewing several different folks, giving them an opportunity to give updates on the coronavirus, how their agency is handling that coronavirus, and hopefully give you some practical things that you can use to help navigate through the things that we're doing. I want to encourage all of you to use the chat feature. So if you're in here in our webinar, feel free to use the chat feature to connect with each other. I see we have a lot of agencies represented here. So this is a great opportunity to ask questions of our panelists, to ask questions of people that are in our chat rooms. So in the chat rooms, we have representatives from Chino Valley Fire, the city of Chino, the city of Chino Hills, the Inland Empire Utilities Agency, Chino Hills Police Department, from the Air Quality AQMD is here. So we have a lot of representatives covering different areas, somebody from the Census Bureau. So we have a lot of different folks from a lot of different areas. So if you have questions, feel free to use the chat box to connect with those individuals and also our panelists who will be giving you updates today. With that, I'm going to introduce our panelists. So our first panelist today is from U.S. Congressman Gil Cisneros' office. We have Stephanie Wade. Stephanie, are you ready?
I am. Let me start my video. I really only have 2 updates this morning. I'm happy to take some questions if there's some of those as well. But the first update, and we're excited about this, we have an opportunity for the Congressman to speak to the entire Chino Hills community. And so in just a minute or 2 in the chat, I'll be posting a link, hot off the internet presses, as it were. But we have a link for you to sign up to be on a Zoom call Friday morning at 10 a.m. And that's a Zoom conference with Congressman Cisneros. He wants to hear as directly as possible from constituents. So we hope folks on this call will not only join themselves, but will share that link with others. But it is specifically and only for residents of Chino Hills. We've done one for each of the 13 cities in our district. And actually, Chino Hills is going to be the last one. I apologize. I fought to get it up front. But in any event, so we do have that, that link that I'll be putting on the chat in just a minute. So I hope people will take it down and then sign up. It's just a Google form that allows you to RSVP as a Chino resident and be on that call at 10 a.m. on Friday. The other thing I'm going to be posting in the chat is a new 800 number that the IRS has just published just for stimulus payments. And it's for constituents to contact stimulus payments. So we encourage you, if you're really running into a brick wall with the IRS, and we know we've dealt with a lot of folks that, you know, a lot of folks have gotten their stimulus checks, but others, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I can't tell you why, you know, the IRS gods deemed that you were not going to get your check, because people fall in all different categories about why they haven't received their IRS check. And the IRS has been really cagey with Congress. They just really haven't been terribly responsive. So we did just hear from the IRS yesterday that they published this new number, and we're asking folks to call in on this number if before they contact our office to see what the IRS says. And that's particularly for people who've been using the IRS portal and they've been getting an error message like, you know, file not found, or you know, or it simply won't let you update your information. Please try that number first, and then if not, I'll also publish my contact information. You can reach out to me directly. Seb, I haven't looked at the chat. Are there some questions?
Let me take a look. Jim says thank you. So what are the current things that, you know, we're talking about reopening a lot of businesses in San Bernardino County. We're moving in that direction. What is your kind of insight, or what's the insight from the federal government about that process? How is that incorporated into what we're looking at currently here in San Bernardino County?
I understand that, for instance, City Hall in Chino Hills is going to be opening on June 1st. And, you know, I'm speaking to some of the council members. I think they'll probably be addressing how they're working through the parameters of how they're going to do that and maintain public and employee safety. I will tell you that from our perspective on the federal government, we're as open for business as we've ever been, but we've been doing it remotely for some time. We only go into our 2 physical office spaces to check mail and to handle emergency cases where we need some item that's only available in the office. But we feel we're as functional as ever. And so again, I encourage people to reach out to us. But as it pertains directly to your question about the federal government, the guidance that we've gotten from Congress is to still practice telecommuting as much as possible and work remotely. So for instance, on June 1st, the city is opening up, and I asked my district director if we were going to start our Chino Hills office hours, which normally I'm in Chino Hills every Tuesday evening from 3 to 5. And we're not going to start opening that back up just yet, because the guidance we've gotten is, if you have the opportunity to telecommute. That said, I'm available to meet with people, and if it's necessary to do something in person, I'll be happy to do that. But primarily, we're doing as much remote work as possible, and we're able to do that. So.
Okay. Great. Well, again, I'll just remind all the folks that are here of 2 things. And number 1, this is on we have a post promoting this on our Facebook page. We have a promoting it on our Twitter account, our Instagram account. So if you are here, feel free to share that for folks to let them know that this is happening today. I also want to point you to the chat box. Make sure you're connecting and communicating with the chat box. And this is also a great opportunity to ask questions. So if you do have any questions, and like I mentioned before, we have a lot of representatives for a lot of different folks. This is the time to get those questions answered, where if you're facing those challenges, the questions about reopening your business, questions about anything like that, we have the folks that are here to help answer those questions. So Stephanie, thank you for giving your update from the Congressman's office. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just that I saw that Councilman Peter Rogers and is here to represent the Supervisor Hagman. And I just wanted to remind folks that most of the city staff will be on that call as well, but we really hope people 10 a.m. on Friday, and I'm posting that information now.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Appreciate it. Next on our panelist list is we have from the chairman of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors, Curt Hagman's office, we have the district director, Peter Rogers. Peter.
Thank you, Zeb. I appreciate it as usual. What number is this? Number 8? Number 9?
That is a great question. I'm not sure.
I've lost track.
It was right
this is my 5th one.
Okay, great.
So, but appreciate all your efforts. And unlike last week where I had pages in front of me of things to communicate, a little bit less this time. Curt apologizes. Curt has a board meeting this morning, and he, as you know, I talk about it all the time. Curt is the ever-ready bunny. He's our Energizer bunny. He is everywhere, and he probably has something going right now before he starts closed session, before he starts his county meeting. So you're stuck with me this time around also. I want to start out as I did last time. The county is trying to keep up as quickly as possible with information that's being disseminated on almost an hourly basis. Everybody looks at the county as they do at the state. So on the county side, I just want to remind you of a site you can go to that's all things COVID, and it's the sbcovid19.com website. There's a dashboard there, but there's so many other things there that you can access. You can access testing locations and testing application site, or the ability to apply this new COVID compliant, which I'll talk about in a little more detail in a moment. That's there also. You can do your submittal that way. And then also, we have a hotline. And the hotline has been in effect for probably 7 or 8 weeks now, staffed at the government center in San Bernardino. And the hotline number, as it has been throughout, but just in case we have some people that are new, 909-387-3911. Now, just kind of jumping into things, once I started putting together my little report for today, and then of course Governor Newsom comes on, and you can throw part of the script away because new things change. And even Curt talked about that on our, we do a conference call as a team several times a week. And he mentioned they have to digest exactly what he said. But the biggest takeaway I wrote down a quote from the governor, and it said, "We are empowering our local health directors and county officials who understand their local communities and conditions better than anyone." That's what we wanted to hear, especially over the last several weeks once we've gotten past the anxiety of what this is all about. Curt and team, as you know, they sent a letter from the 24 cities last Friday. That's what we were working on even during when I was giving you this report. They were trying to pull together a cohesive letter to send to the governor, and that took place. And then also Curt and San Bernardino County and 3 other counties, local surrounding counties, sent a letter and asked for the ability to make our own decisions based on the fact that we know our own county handling things as safely as possible is the bottom line. So we're not just throwing caution to the wind and opening things up without some type of forethought. But Curt and team will probably be talking about it today at 10 o'clock on their Board of Supervisors meeting. In fact, I know they will be, and how to continue this phase 2 effort. But there's a lot of things thrown out there that we have to redefine. I get calls all the time or emails on even from Little League. When can we start Little League? Well, I don't know. It's that whole social gathering, but Newsom talked about sports possibly getting together without crowds. And we don't know all the answers, but Curt wants the ability for he and his colleagues to make decisions locally. And once this plan is approved by the governor, which they sent a plan to the governor last week, once that's blessed, then we can start doing more things that we think is appropriate to the county here, such as opening restaurants in a safer manner. But the main one are the COVID compliant business partnership is the one I just wanted to stress a little more. I know a number of people that have businesses are very aware of it because as soon as they release this, the floodgates opened, I'm sure. But if you go back to that website that I mentioned, sbcovid19.com, there's an application link on there that small businesses 100 or under can apply for a little bit of relief. They put $30 million, they meaning the county put $30 million in this fund to access for small businesses that may have a tougher time financially, even coming compliant with the safety aspects required to make all of this, everything open up to the public. And those businesses can start, will receive, if they qualify, and there's a process to qualify, and it's again 100 or less. It's not sole proprietors working out of homes. They don't qualify, at least not for now. That may change, you never know, depending upon how much of the funds are allocated otherwise. But the application started now through August 31st, and you'll get the money as soon as the application is approved. But go on and apply if you think you qualify. One of the back and forth was you have to have a business that's existed a year or more. It was at 3 and then it went to 2. So that seems to be ever changing also. But go on and ask the guidelines and fill out the application. You never know, you may receive a $2,500 check for your efforts. And Curt, it says it's going to be a new normal. I think we're all talking about it. I'm on a lot of Zoom meetings. I'm on a lot of water boards as a council member, and we've been meeting this way via virtual. And some of these meetings may stay that way. So as much as we hate to say it, there's a new normal, and that new normal could help reduce some traffic around the region, as an example. Instead of me driving out to Ontario for my water meetings, maybe some of them I can do now virtually. So there may be something that comes out of this. And Curt has been a big proponent in technology over the years, not just the last 2 months, but over the years. He's been trying to see if we can start up virtual courts, virtual health, things like that. This may help kickstart that next effort, although it's been painful to get to this point. Tests, there's more testing. The closest in our 4th district which would be Montclair. They're now on a regular schedule. If you require a test, you can put in for it a couple of days before. Montclair Place, which used to be called Montclair Plaza, is the site that seems to be the go-to site now, and you can apply. I think they're taking around 600 people, but it's every Friday, and it takes 80 people to run this, I'm led to believe. So it's quite a little effort, but Montclair Place is going to be every Friday now for the foreseeable future. And I think that's it. Curt said they're going to be hiring people having to do with tracing and having to do with testing. So somewhere along the way, we're going to have teams that will go out and visit those small businesses and businesses to make sure they're compliant before they can open up. But I think the good news is what came out of the governor's speech yesterday is that this phase 2, which is a fairly broad definition, will start to show more activity in the coming weeks. Churches, restaurants are the two that this office seems to receive the most questions about. So you may have a couple of questions, Zeb. I haven't put up the chat bar here yet, so I haven't tracked them, but I think that's it for now. I mean, we know the numbers. I won't necessarily need to repeat the numbers now. You can find them all on the dashboard, but they do daily updates on the numbers also, and for testing and the number of cases, etc. So I think that's it, Zeb.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Peter. So it looks like we do have a question. So Governor Newsom released those guidelines, the benchmarks. So let's just say, for example, there is a spike or something happens. What is the plan from the county's perspective on how they're going to handle that, if they're going to be the ones that are going to be having the
that's a good question, actually, and I suspect the Brain Trust is going to work on those Plan Bs and Plan Cs. I think we have to see where the spike is coming from, because a lot of the numbers, although it's county-wide, and we've got 2.1 million in the county, a lot of those numbers are coming from some hot spots. And those hot spots may need to be the isolated ones even further than what they are now, which would be nursing homes and the prison. The two prisons here in Chino, right over there, have some huge numbers coming out of them now. We all saw the footage of 10 days or so ago that at one of the prisons, they were all sharing the same mask and trying to get themselves sick. I don't know if that's happening over at the prison, but maybe it's just a further isolation of those hot spots that will be required if we see a spike. Now, if we see an overall spike, it's not just going to be in San Bernardino County. It's going to be throughout that something's happened. And then they'll probably have to pull back to some degree. But I think we're all smarter now in these. I'm sure restaurants are preparing for a new norm, at least for the next several months, to get business going, and same with retail. So I think it's just common sense that the key is this distancing, even more than masks, is what I'm reading. Even though you want to wear your masks, highly encouraged, but the distancing, I think that's going to be the key. So I think they'll react depending upon where those spikes are coming from. So more to come on that. We'll see if that does happen.
Okay. And then, so there is a question about tracers and the authority that tracers will have. Do you have any insight on that?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I think a lot of that has to do with just getting people to do it. But there's been no, in San Bernardino County at least, there's been, and I don't know if there's been any successful program because of how quickly it expanded over these 2 months. I don't know if anybody's, even though Dr. Fauci and everybody talks about doing that as a proper protocol, I don't know if that actually has been in place anywhere to the degree that it would be necessary to make this work. So I don't know if I can answer that question.
Okay, and then there's also a question about, so this might be a Chino Hills question, but maybe since you're here, you might answer that.
I can tag team, if Ray's coming on, I can tag team with him also.
Cool. There is a, the thing about the no bail, the $no bail. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, we, well, as you know, our police, we have a contract with the Sheriff's Department, and very successful one. we're still one of the safest cities in the country, so there's no reason to do anything different. We had our DA on last week at our council meeting, but the Sheriff McMahon has been very, very vocal about this whole no bail, and we're fighting it. I'm on the legislative committee along with Brian Joes, and our whole team is totally trying to see if we can shift the thinking from the governor's point of view as far as this no bail is concerned, letting too many of these bad guys out on the street too quickly. So that's a work in progress also as far as working with the state of California to see if we can shift that type of thinking for no bail.
Okay, great. And then looks like we do have another question. So there's a question about nonprofits. So they don't own a business, but they do own a nonprofit. They have a location. They don't apply for that. They don't qualify for those relief efforts. What was kind of the reasoning behind that? Do you have any insight into that?
I don't. Leonard Hernandez is our COVID czar. He's the number 2 person at the county. He might be able to answer that, and I'll write that down to see if we can find out what led to some of the definitions that excluded nonprofits. I'm sure there was a good reason, at least at the time. And as we all know, I'm part of a nonprofit, and I do a lot of work with them. No size fits all nonprofits also. I don't know if they're trying to, how they're trying to define that effort. I don't know. That one I don't know, but I'll write that one down to see if we can do some homework on that.
Okay, cool. Looks like we got a lot of questions for you today. Let's see. There's a question about herd immunity. Is that kind of something that's been discussed at the county level?
No, I wish. I'll tap into CNN and see what the local gossip is on herd immunity. I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. Let's get all of us sick and see if we can have that herd immunity. But to my knowledge, there's been no serious talk about it with the county as far as just letting it all go and see what happens. So I don't know how to answer that one. Curt probably would have a better answer than I do because he's in the middle of this constantly on those types of discussions, but I don't know anything about San Bernardino County herd immunity.
Okay. And then there was a question about playgrounds. It doesn't see that in any of the phase plans. Is that part, do you know where that falls into that?
Yeah, that could be, same with Chino Hills, that could be late phase 2 or phase 3. And we all know the reason for that is just the whole touching the monkey bars and or whatever, and the swings and everything. I think and kids aren't gonna put hand sanitizer on or go wash their hands in the bathrooms on a regular basis. So I think that's the reason for it. But I believe that our parks are open now except for the playgrounds and our parking lots that access those parks, et cetera, and trails. But that one, I think is gonna still require a little more time to work out how our numbers are still flowing over the next couple of weeks, but also just, do we just do that and keep our fingers crossed, or is there some good medical reasoning why we should keep playgrounds closed because of it? But again, it comes down to common sense. If parents are going to let their kids out and play, maybe they need to be there for a little more guidance, at least on the short term. We can get past this.
Okay, perfect. And then I think we have a question for Congressman Cisneros' office. So Stephanie, I see that you responded to that question, but maybe I'll ask it in a more public setting so you can respond on this. Are you ready?
Yeah, I got to go quick because I got to jump on another call, but I believe you're asking about Obamacare payments?
Yes, so I'll read the question and then you can answer it. Has there been any progress on the payments for Obamacare? Fed says that they're sending them to the state sends it back to the Congress representative. What's the kind of...
Yeah, I was asking the individual, David, if you're still listening, please contact me this afternoon. I'm going to be busy the rest of the morning and I won't be able to pick up. But I also put my email in the chat. And if you're having trouble getting coverage, I'm sure my office, our office, can assist you. As we understand it, the protections here in California in terms of getting coverage if you've lost employment are pretty robust. And so if that's not the case, let us look into it, see what we can do to help you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome, Zeb. Thank you.
And we're going to go on to, so we have two representatives here from Southern California Edison. We have our regional manager, Jennifer Shaw, and the account manager, Joyce. Lou, am I saying that right?
Louis.
Louis. Okay, Joyce, Louis, and Jennifer Shaw are here from Southern California, Edison. So take it away.
Thank you, Zeb. This is Jennifer Shaw. I'm so happy to be here this morning. Thank you for inviting us. And just real quick, we just wanted to give an update on the Southern California Edison side. As you all know, as of March 16th, 2/3 or a little bit over 2/3 of our 13,000 employees are working from home. Despite all the challenges with COVID-19, of course, we continue to provide a safe and reliable supply of electricity. One of the things that since COVID started, we've been postponing non-emergency work that may require an outage just because, you know, we know how important it is to have power when you're at home and the kids and all of that. So, but however, we are an essential service provider and we still need to get very important critical work completed. So with that, we will continue to work those important jobs. We're carefully prioritizing outage-related work and evaluating how we can minimize the impact of the outage time. So we also just wanted to inform everyone that we have been donating to local nonprofits $1 million to help in the COVID efforts. In particular, in San Bernardino County, we gave $100,000 to the Community Action Partnership. So we're very, very proud of that and partnering with the community. One thing I wanted to just remind you, Zeb, I did send out a community resource guide for you to send out to the membership. I really appreciate you doing that. And then lastly, we have a virtual meeting coming up soon on Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. I'll send you the link to that too if you can distribute. But we'll be talking about wildfire mitigation and public safety power shutoff. We'll be giving an update on that. So it's really important for Chino and Chino Hill residents to jump on that conference call if they can to get more information about that. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Joyce. She's our business customer division account manager that covers the cities of Chino Hills and many other cities, I'm sure. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to her. Thank you, Joyce.
Thanks, Jennifer. Before we go into some Edison updates, we'd like to remind everyone that safety is, the utmost priority. So unfortunately, some folks are taking advantage of business customers and they are calling and doing phishing emails, and scams is just really rampant right now. So please, if you have received a very suspicious scam call that wants to shut down your power and wants your cash or wants your payment right then and there, just want to remind everyone that we don't do those kind of calls. It's, in fact, a very common scam call. So please call your local authority, 911. We do work with them to investigate those issues. But we also have a SCE fraud online form that you can submit, and we do have a team that will be investigating those kind of cases. So again, please be careful during this time. And just want to share some COVID resources that Jennifer has mentioned a little bit. Basically, we do want to help, businesses and as well as residential customers, especially during this time when you are experiencing financial hardship. We are offering payment assistance options, such as if you feel like you can't pay your bill or you're having a hard time during this time, we have payment extensions as well as arrangements. And we're also suspending service disconnections for non-payments as well. And we're waiving late fees by request. And so please, if you are having trouble paying your bill, call our call center. We understand. And so we want to, make payment arrangements for you that works with you, works best for you. And so, go ahead and contact us directly for that. In addition, we are also waiving security deposits. A lot of, when business customers connect with us or start their service, we require security deposit. Right now, we're actually waiving that, so to help you financially. We are also increasing our bill assistance and our grants for low-income customers. So, for example, I'm not sure if you guys heard about the Care and Fair programs. And this is actually really great if you have recently lost your job or your income has changed. You may actually qualify for a reduced energy rate through our Care and Fair programs. So even if you are receiving unemployment, you can qualify for that as well. And so for the Care, which stands for California Alternative Rates for Energy, eligible customers may receive up to 30% off their bill. And for FARA, Family Electric Rate Assistance, eligible customers can receive up to 18% off the energy bill. And so please look into that if your income level has changed, or if your job is impacted during this time. These two are great programs to look into for your monthly household energy bill. In addition to that, I want to remind everyone we also have a medical baseline program where if you have any basically you use medical device or medical equipment for your home, we are actually waiving physical signature requirements at this time. And so you can also apply for an energy discount with us as well. I'm not sure if some of you have, may be pleasantly surprised. We've actually delivered an early climate dividend credits for all the residential customers. And so you may be seeing a $37 off of your bill. I believe it was last month or so. Usually it comes later in the fall in October, but we really pushed for that with, the jurisdiction, the state to, really help our customers during this time. So it's great that, our partnership with the cities in the state have agreed to push for the climate dividend credit. So you probably have seen that already on your bill. And in addition to that, we do have a department. My colleagues they work very closely with cities and LAEDCs and just different SBA centers. If your business is struggling, I can also point you to our economic development assistance team. And so they may be able to assist you as well if you are a business that is struggling. And additionally, I think Jennifer mentioned about just the critical work we're doing. Summer is coming ahead, and I think the upcoming community meeting this Thursday she was alluding to will be talking about our public safety power shutoff program. And so please, attend if you, if you're available. But the wildfire season is coming, and so we do want you to be prepared for that. There are a number of programs around that as well. For example, a new program that's coming out is we have a $50 rebate for portable battery power stations for households, and so that is definitely something you can look into and that we are offering during that time. If your power is being shut off during this program. We also have different programs like coupons to prevent food spillage for ice. So these are some of the things we are looking into as well. If you are a restaurant, not a lot of restaurants know this, but we actually have rebates for things like refrigeration, freezers, ice making machines, solid glass doors refrigeration. So anything that has energy efficiency, Energy Star type of commercial kitchen appliance, if you have bought that this year or are looking into purchasing or opening your store again this year, please contact me. I can help you apply for the application. And essentially, once the application goes through, if that a kitchen appliance does qualify, we send you a check. So it's really straight, no-brainer type of deal here. So, I would be happy to help you with that energy efficiency appliance. We also have some new LED lighting programs. So for example, if you are a warehouse or if you're an office owner, if you want to change out your fluorescent lights to LED, we have new programs this year where we have rebates for new LED fixtures. We also have the tube LED lighting through our Midstream Point of Purchase program as well. So, now I know it's a interesting time where everyone may not be operating fully, but it may be a good time to look into your lighting and to change that to LED. And additionally, and lastly, we have our Charge Ready program. So if you are a warehouse or an office with a lot of parking lot spaces, if you want to install charging stations, let me know. I can walk you through that application process. And if you qualify, we actually cover all the infrastructure, including the panel and the meter, through our Charge Ready program. And even if you're a warehouse that has forklifts and you're looking into changing that to electric, we also have a great program for that as well. And on the residential side, if you have purchased an electric vehicle this year, you qualify for a $1,000 rebate through our Clean Fuel Rewards program. And so there are a number of programs around, electric vehicle and whatnot. So definitely contact me if you are interested in pursuing some of these programs. So that's it for now, Zeb, and not sure if there are any questions for Jennifer or myself.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of questions. So one of them comes up is just give us an overview. Like, how is Southern California Edison doing? Have you seen the numbers going up, going down in terms of usage for residents right now? What is that looking like for you guys?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I can answer that. I responded to the chat. Yeah, as we have been experiencing COVID-19, people are at home, kids are at home, they're using more electricity. So yes, the average bill has gone up. However, there are programs, as Joyce mentioned, that you can lower your bill online, SCE.com. There's a lot of resources to help you get ideas on how to reduce your bill. We have plenty of capacity. I think that was one of the questions as well, that, with all this increase in usage, do we have the capacity to serve the load? Yes, absolutely. And as we continue our work out there in our infrastructure projects, that will help with future load as well. So Joyce, did you have anything else to add on that one?
No, I think you hit it, Jennifer.
Cool. And then you mentioned that there's places to get in touch with you folks. Can you guys provide that contact information in the chat box so that those that want to get a hold of you can?
Yeah, sure. I can provide my phone number as well as the call center number later on in the chat. So people, definitely feel free to reach out.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Joyce, for coming on and giving those updates about Southern California and Edison and how you guys are helping your consumers take advantage of those opportunities.
Thank you, Zeb.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So next up on our panelists is we have Chino Hills City Council member Ray Marquez. Ray, are you ready?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing great.
I want to apologize for being a little late. I was on another meeting with the Southern California Association of Governments. So we're getting a legislative update on May revise. So I apologize.
Okay.
But yes.
No need to apologize.
So first of all, what are we as a city doing today? We started opening up some of our parks last week. We were having an issue too with the parking lots because a lot of people were going into neighborhoods where trailheads were, and they were oversaturating the parking. So we started opening up the parking lots as of last week, and that problem has gotten a little bit better. As far as the city itself, we are trying to come up with a revision or a plan to open up City Hall, and we're moving forward on that. So we're hoping probably next week or week after that we will be fully open. At the present time, we actually have 2 schedules, an A schedule and a B schedule, but we're trying to do our business at 100%. So I really want to compliment all our employees for doing an outstanding job. We did get some good news yesterday as far as the governor opening up or moving towards phase 2. Matter of fact, yesterday I got a phone call from a couple of beauty petition locations in Chino Hills where they're really eager to open up, but it seems like it's still going to be a week or 2 weeks out. So we're moving forward, but we're very cautious, and we just want to do it the right way. We want to make sure that we're following all the mandates from the state of California and from San Bernardino County. And again, Curt Hagman, our supervisor, has done an outstanding job, and he really is communicating with all the council members and with our city. So hopefully everybody out there, I know it's not 100%, but I'm hoping that everybody understands as far as the direction the city's taking. And if there's any questions, I'm here for you.
Okay, great. Ray, what's kind of the biggest thing that you're getting people coming to you about that are talking about issues or concerns that they're having as it relates to this?
Well, I think a lot of it is they look at the media and they see other parts, either the state or different states where it's opening up, the restaurants are opened up, everything is sort of back to normal. And again, we have to follow the mandates of the state of California and also the county. So we're not going to be going at the same speed as other states that don't have issues with COVID-19. So we're very cautious, and we just want to make sure that we don't hurt anybody in our community and that we're doing it in a smart way.
Good. We have a question. What is the possibility of posting signs in public with guidelines about, things that we should be doing? Are we going to be doing that in Chino Hills, do you think?
We are. I think if you look at the trails as an example, social distancing, face masks. So we are trying to come up with a program to better educate the people. But I do believe the people that live in the communities surrounding Chino Hills and Chino Hills, they're pretty well educated, so they really know what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. So again, we will augment that with signs throughout the public facilities throughout the city.
Okay, good. Is there any other kind of issues the city is facing right now as it comes to this? Are you getting anything that's coming to the city council as a whole? We talked with Peter earlier about the $no bail issue that had come up. Is there anything like that you feel like our community should be aware of?
Well, I just want the people, a lot of times we get blamed for that program. We really have no say-so, or even if you look at Prop 109, 53, and 47, which allowed criminals that used to serve their time in jail, it was mandated by the state of California that they went, the security went towards the county, and the county just didn't have the facilities. So they started letting everybody else out on probation sooner. So again, there was an uptick at that time for like mail, where people were taking your mail, cars, people breaking into your houses. And believe it or not, those are misdemeanors. And it's frustrating. I believe in November of this year, there will be you can actually vote on an amendment to change or move back the way it used to be. So hopefully when you get your ballot for November, you do some research and hopefully you vote the right way. So this way we can put the criminals back in prison.
Okay, well, perfect. Councilmember Marquez, we really appreciate it. So thank you for coming on and sharing your insights with our community.
Well, you know what, Zeb, before I go, I want to give them my phone number if I could.
Yeah.
It's 909-226-6538. That's my personal cell. So anybody out there that has any issues or concerns, please call me. And thank you, Zeb, for the opportunity of being here today. And once again, I'm really sorry I was late.
And I would highly encourage everybody to call that number as soon as possible.
You got it, Peter. I will answer.
Uh-huh. And then we have some questions coming in from David, but I'm not quite sure what the questions are, so I apologize, but I'm not able to ask those because I don't understand what the question is. It has something to do with playground equipment and the temperature being high enough or something like that, so I'm not sure if that's a question.
You know what? Yes, it is. Matter of fact, the playground equipment, because of the contamination and us not being able to be there 24/7, that equipment is closed as of today. The temperature, there is speculation that once it gets warmer, that this virus will slow down. But again, we're mandated by the state of California and the county of San Bernardino, so we're following their guidelines.
Okay, great. And then what? Can you give that number again? I'm going to put it in the chat box.
Okay, Peter, your number is 909. My number is 909-226-6538.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. We are going to go on to our next panelist, which is the Executive Vice President and General Counsel at California Chamber of Commerce, Erika Frank. Erika, are you there?
I am. Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Seb, for having me on again. Each week, it's nice. There's more encouraging news to talk about. And as the council member just mentioned, the governor yesterday did loosen up a little bit more some of the criteria that he had set forth last week for counties to be able to open back up, which is encouraging. And a lot of people, including myself, was happy to hear that hairdressers and hair salons can start opening up again in the next couple of weeks, which is encouraging for everybody. As we're moving through and companies are starting to open up, we are still hearing from a lot of businesses about employees choosing to stay home and not come back to work for a variety of reasons. The Paycheck Protection Program is a hot topic still, and so is employees' ability to continue collecting unemployment. Last week, we had several updates to the agency websites that I wanted everybody to be aware of. The EDD, which is the Employment Development Department, they updated their FAQs on unemployment. Very helpful information. Talks about what to do when an employee decides they don't want to come back, how it impacts their UI benefits, and it's extremely helpful. So for those of you that are challenged right now with getting folks to come back to work, there's some good information on the EDD website. Also, the SBA, yesterday or maybe over the weekend, they updated their FAQs. We have some interim guidelines as well. Super helpful. Addresses a lot of the challenges that employers have been vocaling as far as what does the money need to be paid for? How do we handle employees that don't want to come back? What do we need to do to document that we offered the job, but they are unwilling to come back to work? So again, the SBA website has some really good information on that. And then finally, about 2 weeks ago, and I think we covered this already a while back, but the governor did issue an executive order expanding workers' compensation for COVID-19 related issues, creating a rebuttable presumption. This is a huge game changer for the workers' compensation benefit system, basically presuming that if an employee comes down with COVID, is diagnosed, and it's during the course and scope of employment that it's presumed to have occurred during work, which then shifts the burden on the employer to be able to rebut that presumption. The Department of Industrial Relations issued some FAQs either over the weekend or early yesterday morning. We discovered it yesterday morning, that answers some of the questions that employers had on, and also how the executive order is going to play out and what some of the terms mean. So I think it's something that employers really should take a look at and be cautioned about. And as we start to put together our return to work plans, however they may be, depending on our industry, to really make sure that we're focusing on keeping that workplace clean, safe, training our employees about self-checking. The CDC website has great information on self-checking symptoms. Some employers are choosing to do the temperature check. Some are choosing not to. It's really going to be up to your workplace and the requirements that you have. But I think it's really important for us to be mindful as we start opening up the workplace, being creative as far as keeping that distance for employers. There's a lot of interesting ways that businesses are handling it. I spoke to a colleague last week, and she has an A group and a B group, and the A group comes in on Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, they deep clean. Thursday, Friday, the B group comes in. So there's a lot of different ways that we can bring folks back, keeping in mind to keep everything safe and clean.
Cool. So we do have a few questions for you. What is, how big of an issue is that? Is of workers not coming back into work for businesses? Is that something that's rampant? I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah,
from
you
your
know,
perspective?
when from my perspective, and Cal Chamber offers a labor law helpline for our preferred members to utilize and talk to advisors about a variety of compliance issues, we're getting a very high number of calls where employees are resistant to come back. Either it's because they're scared, which is a natural fear. They're scared about coming back to work, wanting to know what steps the employer is taking to ensure that the workplace is clean, has the proper PPEs if necessary. There's others where the employees straight out say, I'm making more in some instances on unemployment, and are rather sitting it out and waiting until their unemployment expires. There's others that, you know, for a variety of reasons, maybe they have kids at home and aren't able to come, but the ability to collect a paycheck and not come to work has been a pretty big reason.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we have a question. I'm going to try to rephrase it a little bit. So the county puts out data like with the governor's announcement this morning. It sounds like they're going to leave a little bit more control in the hands of the counties. The numbering system, you know, so they got to reach certain criteria before they move on to phases. Is there a potential for counties to kind of misassess the numbers so that they give a more favorable outcome for what they want to try and accomplish? Is that a thing? Do you know?
You know, I haven't heard as to whether or not that's the thing. I know that the governor in his press conference yesterday was talking about transparency. He was talking about accuracy in numbers. I think that with this public health concern that the counties are going to do their best to get the data over, balancing the challenges of opening and maintaining a healthy community. But I haven't heard anything per se of numbers being fudged.
Okay, cool. How does the chamber, like from a chamber perspective or from Cal Chamber, what are some things that local chambers should be doing right now to help best support their businesses at this time?
Yeah, I think right now folks should be really feeling positive about reopening. Chambers can be very helpful in providing some guidance to their businesses as far as where to go for the resources, creating that opening plan. That's what the governor talked about with his resilience roadmap a few weeks ago. It doesn't have to be this overly it needs to be thought through, but it doesn't have to be this huge written document plan. I mean, there needs to be certain criteria. The chambers can help their businesses by pointing them to the different checklists that the CDC, even some of the localities are producing for their businesses. You know, having a very methodical way of opening back up so you still balance that, you know, getting the economy back versus keeping everybody healthy.
Okay, excellent. And I'll just kind of go off a little bit about that and how we're trying to help facilitating that process. So we mentioned all those resources. So when Cal Chamber sends us stuff, we make sure that stuff gets in the correspondence that we're sending out. We're putting it up on our website. Same thing, we're collecting data from all of our agencies to try and make it as focused for Chino Valley businesses as possible. So we're taking info from Cal Chamber, the U.S. Chamber, San Bernardino County, our cities, and we're trying to put all that together to try and help perform a cohesive kind of one-stop shop for information when it comes to Chino Valley businesses. So we have those resources there, which also links to those other external resources. So I encourage you to check those out. We also, in terms of coming up with a blueprint for opening, you know, with these businesses that are planning on opening and doing it, what we want to encourage our businesses to open responsibly. To set it up, and what that means is preparing in advance for when you do open, so that when you are ready to go, you're ready to go and you're ready to do it in the most responsible way you can. The County of San Bernardino has come up with that program, which is going to be a really good thing for businesses to put in proper, responsible guidelines to help open up their business, and then also get some funding from the county to help offset those costs that you would incur from setting up your business safely. So the intention of that is to get your business up and running as quickly as possible, to have kind of, as best they can, formalized guidelines to help make sure that you're doing it in the way that you should, so that way it creates a signal for the states and for those other agencies to give our businesses the opportunity to open and to open responsibly. Is that
well said? Well said.
all right, cool. Yeah, trying to do that. So the same thing, we want to see businesses thrive. We want our economy to keep going. We've always encouraged our businesses to be innovative, to try to work through this. You know, as a chamber, we're trying to be innovative as well by trying to do these Zoom meetings and get-togethers and promoting stuff online. And we had a huge event on Thursday, our pitch competition, which went extremely well. That's on our Facebook page and something we emailed out. So I encourage you guys that are in attendance, if you haven't seen that yet, it's a way that we decided to promote entrepreneurship in the Chino Valley. So we had these young entrepreneurs that presented their business ideas. We had a community of folks, judges, mentors, sponsors to help get involved in this thing. And I couldn't be more proud of how that turned out. So if you haven't had a chance to see it yet, you should. And with that, I want to say thank you to our panelists. So thank you, Erika, for coming on.
Pleasure.
I'll give a couple more brief updates from our chamber before we close it out. So one of the things we sent out a couple of weeks ago was a survey, and that's also to help our businesses open properly. So the survey that we sent out was just, what are things that you need in place in your business to make sure that you're feeling safe when you open it up. So we put that out there. That was a couple of weeks ago. I will try to include it in the chat as soon as I'm done chatting. If you're a business in Chino Valley, you should definitely fill that out. Because that's what we're using to help our legislators understand what are the things that we should be doing to make sure that we're opening up safely, and that's where those guidelines are coming from. We have a presentation tomorrow. So we have a business at breakfast every Wednesday from 7:45 to 9. This is very business specific. So there'll be a topic tomorrow, which is how to improve your business. I can't remember off the top of my head what the topic is for tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure it has to do with social media marketing. So to help improve your social media marketing presence for your business. There's also a great opportunity to network with each other. And I'll also do one more announcement, which is that we're going to do a mixer on Thursday. So we're going to do our first virtual mixer. So that's just an opportunity for us to hang out. So you could feel free to bring your drinks on your end, and we can sit and communicate and interact and engage with each other. So that's supposed to be on Thursday nights. With that, this is going to go live. So this video will be up on our YouTube page. It'll be up on our Facebook page. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page yet, I encourage you to do that. We have a lot of different video pieces. These interviews are all going up there, or these webinars are all going up there. Our Wednesday morning meetings are all going up there. So this will be a good place to go to get information to help expand and grow your business. The mixer on Thursday is likely, I think we said 6 to 7, but I'll be sending out an email about that today or tomorrow. And I'll definitely announce it tomorrow at our Wednesday Business at Breakfast. So again, thank you for everybody who participated as panelists. Thank you for everybody who participated in the chat. And we will continue doing this for the foreseeable future. So every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9:30, we're going to have our Chino Valley Leaders webinar on the coronavirus. So if there's anybody that you do want to hear from, be able to ask questions of, let me know, and I will try my best to try and get those folks here participating with us. So thank you, everybody, and have a great week.